Well, good afternoon. These are not the lofty hills that rise above Tarrytown. These are the lofty hills that rise above Pecs in southern Hungary. And we have climbed up out of the city and we are in Tettye. It's like a monument up there on top of that rock. So I've been in Pecs for a couple of days now. The city center itself is absolutely beautiful. It doesn't have everything like Budapest has, but boy, there is a lot to see there. And from the city center, which is close to where I'm staying, I've walked east, I've walked west, I've walked south. And the one thing I have not really come across is anything that's kind of out of the city, kind of nature-like. It's been more industrial and shopping and construction, to be honest with you. So today I head north, and I believe north puts me at the foothills of some local mountains, and maybe we'll get into a little bit more of a foresty kind of afternoon, and maybe some views back over the city. I know this is a little spring, but I was reading about that building I showed with the umbrellas. This is where I had a cup of coffee just a moment ago to get the walk started, but we're going to have to go up some steps, and then we're going to have to climb a hill. And I think we're going to see some ruins when we get to the top. Maybe some nice views over the city itself, which there's quite a bit to see there. This is the road I had hiked up. If you follow that down, it'll get you into the city. And this is the walk that we're going to take up. So let's go explore Tettye in Pecs. After coming up through the pathway through the park, I skipped the ruins for now. There are the ruins right there. There's a couple people up on top you can see moving about there. So I kind of hooked up to the right, and I'm on this boardwalk here that leads up to the statue on top of the rock. It looks like a crucifixion statue. And I saw some people walking up here from down below, so I figured, all right, there's got to be a sidewalk and certainly maybe a way to get over there. And there was. I don't know how close we'll be able to get. Looks like this area is well connected by the city bus, so if you did not want to walk all the way up the hill, you could get the same vantage point by just jumping on a bus, which I believe is 500 forint per ride. It's about 350 forint to $1, so 500 forint would be $1.50 maybe, $1.40. All right, looks like we can hook around here a little bit. All right, maybe we'll get a little view of the statue here if we get a little gap in the trees. It's a nice little park area right here. Not a person up here either. Just above the trees. Kind of have a obstructed view from here. A much clearer view from down below, although you're quite further. Looks like there's a little path going up there, but it's closed off by the fence, so I'm not gonna jump the fence, but I'm gonna walk up a little further and see if there's not some nice views over the town here. Coming back. All right, just a few more moments walk up beyond the fence here, and it kind of goes off into a little observation point. Look back there, you can see the crucifixion cross now a little bit clearer because I'm out beyond the trees. Way up high in the distance is the Pecs TV tower. You can go to the top of that. I think it's a few hundred feet, maybe 150 meters. And I think it's only €4 or €5, maybe $5 to go on top of that. Take a little elevator, I guess. maybe you walk. I'm not sure. I'm not certain. Right below that, looks like there's like a like an old Roman column, which might be kind of challenging to see, but it's kind of right there. Coming back this direction leads you in towards the actual city itself, and you can see all the brownish orange rooftop buildings there. Looks like a wall down there too that I'm not quite familiar with, that maybe kind of a rampart that goes around the city. See kind of the blue dome out there, the church steeple, and then there's a couple of steeples out kind of hidden amongst that hillside. But the whole downtown area itself is really, really nice to see. Certainly plan to make a walkthrough of that one. All right, so we'll continue on up here at Tettye. The ruins are coming up, 700 to 800 years old from the sign that I read. So some sweeping views back over the city. Up this hill there is a path that comes up here. Not a very long one, probably 10-12 minutes, but it is a bit precarious and mostly uphill. Now I'm on the descent down, but if you look back down there, that's where the ruins are that I have not been to yet. I think that's the next stop. There's a restaurant down there somewhere, but basically where that roadway is, just right here, is where I started from before. So to come up here you have to kind of go up and around that road, and then it kind of hooks back up this direction. Honestly, I just kind of I bought a big bottle of water. Water is very affordable here, 1.5 liter, about 50 or 60 cents. So that's a pretty good deal, and well worth having on a mid 80-degree day, probably 30 degrees Celsius. But some views up here are just really fantastic. So we're gonna walk back down, we'll check out the ruins, and then about time for a little dinner. Good afternoon, not quite evening yet, but good afternoon from high atop Pecs. Well, if you don't speak Hungarian, they got you covered. Signs are also in English. We're gonna head to the Lime Cave here momentarily. If you look back up above the bus that's pulling in right here, that little wooden dome, I guess you would call it, is where I just hiked up to and came back down from, which gave some great views over the city. I'm now back down to that park area, which also is a bit of a rose garden, it looks like. Here's we're in the middle of summer. They don't look quite as good as maybe they did in the springtime. There's also a botanical garden somewhere up here, and the town of Pecs has a zoo as well, which is somewhere in this direction. I don't think it's this close to town. I think it's a little bit further out. So what I read on these, they date back to the about the 1400s. So maybe 600 to 700 years ago. This is what remains of a, I guess would have been like a fortified castle at the time. For some royalty that lived hundreds of years ago. Kind of interesting to think that 600-700 years ago there was somebody here laying these stones in the ground, and yet here in 2023 some of it still stands. wonder if they had a tree in the middle of the home back then. Probably not. I think this offers some more views over the park. Not so much into town because you have the trees that are impeding that view. But that is the path I walked up a little bit earlier. There's a like a park, a sports park playground type thing a little bit below the requisite summer splash pad that you'll see people on really warm days kind of walking through or sitting in. But after a couple days of going east, west, and south and not really finding any park environment or anywhere to get out of the heat, come north and we have found it. All right, well, that's going to close it up for this short video above the town of Pecs. Hope you enjoyed it.